failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey to success. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than they can count. The only difference is they didn't stop. And maybe you've been through struggles that made you doubt yourself. Maybe life hasn't been fair. Maybe people told you that you weren't good enough, that you wouldn't make it. But your opinions do not define your future. Your past does not have to dictate where you go from here. The only thing standing between you and your dream is the action you choose to take today. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You don't need more validation. You need to decide right now that you are done waiting, that you are done making excuses, that you will not let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold you back any longer. Because if you don't move now, then when? The longer you wait, the more you convince yourself that your dream is out of reach. The more comfortable you get in your excuses, the harder it becomes to break free from them. You are not born to stay stuck. You are not born to just exist. You are born to create, to build, to chase what makes you feel alive. There are two types of people in this world. Those who talk about what they want to do and those who actually do it. Which one will you be? The person who keeps dreaming but never takes action? Or the person who decides that today is the day everything changes? If you keep waiting for someone to believe in you, you might be waiting forever. But here's the good news. You are enough. You have everything inside you to take the first step. The only thing missing is action. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Start now. Your future self is depending on the choice you make today. We always say, I'll start when I am ready. But let's be honest. When will you ever truly feel ready? That day may never come. There will always be a reason to wait. Always something that makes you feel like you're not quite there yet. Maybe you think you need more knowledge, more money, more confidence. Maybe you think you need to be in a better place in life before you begin. But the truth is, waiting for readiness is just another excuse. Readiness does not come before action, it comes from action. The moment you start, you begin to grow. The moment you take that first step, you start becoming the person who is capable of achieving the dream you've been holding in your heart. Think about all the times you've hesitated because you weren't sure if you were good enough. You told yourself, I don't know enough yet, so you delayed. You told yourself, I need more experience, so you held back. But how do you gain experience? By doing. No one starts as an expert. No one wakes up one day with all the knowledge, all the skills, all the confidence they need. They build it over time. Every successful person you admire once stood where you are now, at the starting line, unsure, uncertain, and full of doubts. But the difference is, they started anyway. They didn't let the fear of being unprepared stop them from taking action. They didn't let uncertainty hold them back. They moved forward, even when they didn't feel ready. And that's exactly what you must do. Then there's the fear of failure. What if I try and I fail? But have you ever asked yourself, what if I try and I succeed? What if everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear? What if the only thing holding you back is your mindset? The truth is, failure is not something to be afraid of. Failure is part of success. Every person who has ever achieved something great has failed more times than they can count. But the difference between them and the ones who never make it is simple. They didn't let failure define them. They saw failure as a lesson, as a stepping stone, as proof that they were trying. They used every setback as fuel to keep going. So what if you fail? What if your first attempt doesn't go as planned? What if people judge you? What if you make mistakes? Guess what? You will. It's inevitable. You will stumble. You will face rejection. You will have moments where you question everything. But failure is only final if you quit, if you get back up, if you learn from it, if you keep moving forward. Then failure is not an ending. It's just part of your journey. Then there's the excuse of not having enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right connections. But let me tell you something. The most successful people in the world didn't start with everything they needed. They started with what they had and made it work. They found a way. If If you're waiting for the perfect circumstances, you'll be waiting forever. If you don't have enough money, start with what's free. If you don't have enough time, make time. Wake up earlier, cut out distractions, use every spare moment. If you don't have the right connections, put yourself out there, learn, network, and create opportunities for yourself. The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not resources, it's resourcefulness. Excuses are comfortable. They give us a reason to stay in our comfort zone, to avoid risk, to stay where things are safe and familiar. But nothing great comes from comfort zones. Every time you make an excuse, you give up a little bit of your power. You hand over control to fear, to doubt, to circumstances. But when you stop making excuses, when you take full responsibility for your dreams, everything changes. You start to realize that you are not powerless. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are capable of changing your life. But only if you stop waiting, stop doubting, and start moving. Imagine yourself a year from now. If you start today, if you push past the excuses and take action, where could you be? What progress could you make? What dreams could you be living? Now imagine yourself a year from now if you don't start. If you keep waiting, if you keep making excuses, if you let another year pass without taking action. The difference between those two versions of yourself is not luck, it's not talent, it's not outside circumstances. It's simply a decision. The decision to act or to delay. So I ask you now, which future do you want? The one where you stayed stuck, where you let excuses hold you back, or the one where you took control, where you faced your fears and chased your dreams with everything you had? The choice is yours. No one else can make it for you. No one else can do the work for you. So no more waiting, no more excuses, no more telling yourself you're not ready, not good enough, not capable. You are ready. You are good enough. You are capable. And the only thing left to do is take the first step. You don't need to wait for someone to believe in you. You don't need the approval of the world. The only permission you need is your own. Too often we hold ourselves back because we're waiting for validation, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to tell us we are good enough. But the truth is, no one is coming to give you permission. No one is coming to say, now is the perfect time. No one is coming to hand you your dream. If you want it, you have to claim it for yourself. Think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself because you were worried about what others might think? How many times have you stopped yourself from taking action because you fear judgment, criticism, or rejection? How many times have you let someone else's opinion define your choices? But let me ask you this, who is living your life? Who has to wake up every day and live with the decisions you make? It's not them, it's you. Other people will always have opinions, but their opinions don't pay your bills. Their opinions don't build your future. Their opinions don't create your happiness. So why are you letting them control your life? The truth is, most people who criticize you are not the ones out there chasing their dreams. They're not the ones putting in the work. They're not the ones taking risks. So why should their words have the power to stop you? You might be thinking, but what if I fail? And I get it. Failure is scary. No one likes to fail. But let's shift your perspective. What if failure isn't something to fear, but something to embrace? What if failure isn't the end, but a necessary part of the journey? Every great success story is filled with failure. Every successful person has faced rejection, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The difference between them and those who never make it is simple. They didn't let failure define them. They didn't let one mistake, one rejection, or one obstacle convince them to quit. They learned, adapted, and kept going. So what if you fail? What if you try and it doesn't work out the first time? That's not the end. It's just the beginning. Every failure teaches you something. Every mistake gives you experience. Every setback prepares you for a comeback. The only true failure is never trying at all. The only real mistake is letting fear keep you from even starting. Maybe you've been waiting for someone to believe in you before you take action. Maybe you've been hoping that one day someone will see your potential and give you the push you need. But here's what I want you to understand. You don't need them to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. If you keep waiting for others to validate you, you might wait forever. Some people won't see your vision. Some people won't understand your dreams. Some people will even doubt you, not because you're not capable, but because they are too afraid to chase their own dreams. But this is your life, your dream, your journey, and you have to be the one to take control of it. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to make things easy for you. The only person who can change your life is you. The moment you take ownership of your dream, everything changes. The moment you stop seeking approval and start trusting yourself, doors begin to open. You don't need more qualifications. You don't need more people cheering for you. You don't need the perfect moment. You just need to decide. Decide that you are enough. Decide that your dream is worth it. Decide that you will not let fear, doubt, or the opinions of others hold you back any longer. Because here's the truth. Your dream is valid. Your potential is real. And the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be is action. The moment you stop waiting and start moving, you will realize that you were always capable. You will see that you didn't need permission after all.
Basta birthday spaghetti, may cream aggressive na yan. With Nestle All-Purpose Cream. Cream aggressive, ang sarap!
So take the first step. Don't wait for approval. Don't wait for validation. Give yourself permission to go after what you truly want. Because your dream is yours and only you can make it happen. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when everything falls into place, when all the obstacles disappear, when the path ahead is clear and easy. If you're waiting for that moment, you will wait forever. Life doesn't work that way. Dreams don't come true because the conditions are ideal. They come true because you decide to take action. Despite the imperfections, despite the uncertainty, despite the fear, how many times have you told yourself, I'll do it when I'm ready? How many times have you put off your dreams, convincing yourself that next month or next year will be a better time to start? But every time you delay, you reinforce a habit of waiting. Every time you make an excuse, you strengthen the belief that you need something more before you begin. More time, more money, more experience, more confidence. But the truth is, you don't need more of anything. You just need to start. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who have achieved greatness, who have built something from nothing, who have transformed their lives. Do you think they started under perfect conditions? No. They started when they had nothing. They started when they were uncertain. They started when they were afraid. But they moved forward anyway. And that's the key difference between those who succeed and those who don't. Successful people don't wait for the perfect time. They create the time. They don't wait for permission. They give it to themselves. They don't wait for conditions to be ideal. They take what they have and make the best of it. Look around you. How many people do you know who had big dreams but never followed through? How many people talked about all the things they wanted to do but never did? They had the same 24 hours in a day as you do. They had struggles, they had challenges, they had fears. The only difference is they let those things stop them. And if you keep waiting for the perfect time, you could become one of them. I don't say this to scare you, I say it to wake you up. Because right now, you still have a choice. Right now, you can decide that you will not be the person who looks back years from now with regret, wishing they had started sooner. Right now, you can take control. You can step forward even if it's just a small step, even if you're uncertain, even if you're afraid. You might say, but I don't know where to start. That's okay. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the first step. The path will reveal itself as you go. Clarity comes from action, not from waiting. You might say, but what if I fail? And I ask you, what if you don't? What if you succeed? What if this one decision to start now changes everything for you? And even if you do stumble, so what? Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is part of the journey. The only true failure is never trying at all. You might say, but I have too many responsibilities. I hear you. Life is busy. There are bills to pay, people to take care of, obligations that demand your time. But here's the thing. There will always be responsibilities. There will always be reasons to put your dream on hold. But if you don't prioritize it now, when will you? It's not about having time, it's about making time. Even if you only have 10 minutes a day, start with that. Even if you can only take small steps, take them. Progress is progress no matter how slow. And once you start, momentum will build. What seems impossible now will become natural. What feels overwhelming now will become easier. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's the ability to act. It's the decision to start even when things aren't perfect. So stop waiting, stop making excuses, stop convincing yourself that someday will be better because someday is not guaranteed. The only moment you have is now. Right now, you have everything you need to take the first step. Right now, you can choose to stop delaying your dreams. Right now, you can decide that you will no longer wait for the perfect time. Because the perfect time is now. The moment you decide to take action, everything changes. The moment you stop waiting, stop doubting, stop making excuses, and finally step forward toward your dream, your life begins to shift in ways you'd never imagined. You start to realize that the power to change, to grow, to achieve, has always been in your hands. It was never about waiting for the right opportunity. It was about creating it. It was never about getting approval from others. It was about believing in yourself. Think about where you are right now. Think about everything you've been through, every challenge you've faced, every setback that made you feel like quitting. Yet, despite it all, you're still here. That means something. It means you have strength, resilience, and potential that you may not even recognize yet. It means that no matter what life has thrown at you, you have survived. And because of that, you are more than capable of taking the next step toward your dream. But dreams don't become reality just because you wish for them. You can't just hope for a better life. You have to build it. You have to commit to the process, to the grind, to the discipline it takes to turn your vision into something real. And that commitment begins the moment you decide that you are done waiting. When you take action, something incredible happens. You build confidence, you gain momentum. Each small step forward proves to you that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you have what it takes. Fear begins to shrink, doubt starts to fade, and you start to see the possibilities instead of the limitations. Maybe you've been telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But let me ask you, how many times have you said that? How many tomorrows have passed without you taking that first step? How many dreams have faded away because they were always waiting for the right moment? If you don't start today, what makes you think you'll start tomorrow? And if not tomorrow, then when? You have to take action now, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, not when you feel perfectly ready, because waiting doesn't make it easier. It only makes the mountain in front of you seem bigger. But once you take that first step, no matter how small, you realize that the mountain isn't as impossible as it seemed. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to know every step of the journey. All you need is to begin. Because once you do, the path starts to reveal itself. You learn along the way, you adjust, you grow, you improve. But none of that happens if you stay stuck in hesitation. There will be days when you feel tired, when you feel discouraged, when you wonder if it's even worth it. That's normal.
From standing still to standing somewhere amazing with Agoda's great travel deals. See the world for less. Book now.
Every person who has ever pursued a dream has felt that way. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is simple. They don't stop. They push through even when it's hard. They keep going even when they don't see immediate results. Because results don't come from thinking about your dream. They don't come from wishing or waiting. They come from doing. They come from the daily commitment to take action, to show up, to put in the effort even when no one is watching. Imagine where you could be a year from now if you start today. Imagine the progress you could make, the skills you could develop, the doors you could open. Now imagine where you'll be a year from now if you don't start. Exactly where you are now, still wishing, still waiting, still hoping for the right moment. The difference between those two futures is action. The choice is yours. No one can make it for you. No one can force you to chase your dream. No one can do the work for you. But if you make the decision to start, to commit, to stop waiting and take control of your future, then nothing can stop you. So what are you going to do? Will you let another day pass without moving forward? Or will you take that first step right now? Will you keep making excuses? Or will you decide that today is the day you finally take action? Your dream is waiting for you. Your future is in your hands, but you have to make the move. You have to take the leap. You have to stop waiting for the perfect time and realize that this right here, right now, is your time. No more hesitation, no more excuses, no more waiting. It's time to take action. It's time to change your dream. It's time to change your life, and it all begins with a decision you make today.
Nakapag-Milo morning na ba?
Let's go! Milo Morning, baby!
Have you ever felt stuck? Like no matter how hard you try, nothing changes. You pray, you hustle, you dream, but life feels the same. Maybe you're waiting for God to drop a massive miracle, a lightning bolt of success, when all along, He's whispering, start small, trust me. Friends, today we're talking about hacking your habits, because your destiny isn't just shaped by grand moments. It's built in the daily choices nobody sees. That 5-minute prayer, that one healthy meal, that tiny act of courage, that's where blessings hide. The idea that God works through small, faithful steps rather than just massive leaps is deeply rooted in both scripture and everyday experience. Think about how a mighty oak tree begins as a tiny acorn, or how a single spark can ignite a great fire. In the same way, the most significant transformations in life often start with seemingly insignificant choices. The decision to pray for 5 minutes when you'd rather scroll, the choice to speak kindness instead of criticism, or the commitment to save a little instead of spending recklessly. These small acts may feel unimportant in the moment, but over time they accumulate into something extraordinary. The Bible is full of examples where God used small beginnings to bring about His grand purposes. David was anointed king while still a shepherd boy, practicing faithfulness in the fields long before he faced Goliath. The widow of Zarephath had only a handful of flour and a little oil, yet her obedience in using it to feed Elijah unlocked a miracle of unending provision. Even Jesus compared the kingdom of God to a mustard seed. Tiny at first, but destined to grow into something vast and life-giving. These stories remind us that God doesn't demand perfection or massive action up front. He simply asks for our willingness to take the next small step in faith. In our own lives, we often delay progress because we're waiting for the perfect moment, the grand opportunity, or the dramatic sign from heaven. But what if the very thing holding us back is our resistance to starting small? We want the promotion without mastering the daily tasks, the strong marriage without the daily acts of love, or the deep faith without consistent prayer. Yet growth doesn't work that way. Every big blessing is the result of small, intentional choices made over time. Consider the power of compounding, a principle that works in finances, relationships, and spirituality. Just as a single penny doubled daily grows into millions, small acts of faithfulness multiply into unexpected breakthroughs.
Ready to try?
Yeah, ready.
Bago to?
Knew it.
Reading one Bible verse a day may seem trivial, but over a year, that's 365 verses shaping your mind and heart. Choosing patience in traffic or kindness with a difficult coworker may feel insignificant, but over months, it rewires your character. Saving a small amount regularly may not feel like wealth building, but time and consistency turn it into security. The enemy of progress isn't just failure, it's the lie that small steps don't matter. We dismiss the power of incremental change because we crave instant results, but God is a God of process. He could have made the universe in an instant, yet He chose to create over 6 days, modeling the beauty of gradual, intentional growth. When we align with His rhythm, trusting that our small obediences are part of His bigger plan, we position ourselves for blessings we can't yet imagine. Even Jesus, in His earthly ministry, focused on small beginnings with eternal impact. He didn't start with stadiums, He started with 12 ordinary men. He didn't perform miracles for the masses first, He turned water into wine at a quiet wedding. His ministry was built on personal conversations, individual healings, and moments of teaching that seemed small at the time but changed the world. If the Son of God embraced the power of small steps, how much more should we? The key is to shift our perspective from what we lack to what we can do today. You may not have hours to pray, but you have minutes. You may not be debt-free yet, but you can start with one less unnecessary purchase. You may not see the full vision God has for your life, but you can take the next obedient step in front of you. Faith isn't about having everything figured out. It's about trusting that God honors faithfulness, no matter how small it seems. When we embrace this truth, we stop waiting for perfect conditions and start making progress right where we are. We realize that the little things, the daily disciplines, the quiet acts of worship, the seemingly minor corrections, are the very things God uses to prepare us for greater things. The Bible says, "Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin." Zechariah 4:10. What looks insignificant in human eyes is often the foundation of divine blessing. So instead of being overwhelmed by how far you have to go, focus on what you can do now. That one phone call to mend a relationship, that extra moment of patience with your child, that decision to tithe even when money is tight. These are the seeds of future harvests. God isn't asking for grand gestures. He's asking for a heart that's willing to move, even in small ways. And when we do, we'll discover that the God who fed thousands with the boys' lunch is more than capable of multiplying our small steps into something far greater than we could ask or imagine. Habits shape our lives far more than we realize. They are the invisible architecture of our days, quietly steering us towards success or stagnation. While hustle and hard work have their place, it's the daily disciplines, the small repeated actions that truly determine our destiny. You can push yourself to exhaustion for a week, but if you don't build sustainable habits, you'll burn out before you ever reach your goals. Real transformation isn't about sporadic bursts of effort. It's about designing a life where the right actions become automatic, effortless, and ingrained in who you are. Think about the way water carves through rock. Not through a single violent rush, but through persistent, steady flow over time. In the same way, habits work their magic gradually, reshaping our character, our health, and our spiritual lives one day at a time. The Apostle Paul understood this when he wrote about training like an athlete, not for a one-time race, but for a lifetime of endurance. He didn't say, run hard once and win forever. He said, discipline your body, bring it under subjection. That's the language of habits, not hustle. Many of us fall into the trap of believing that motivation is the key to change. We wait for inspiration to strike before we pray, exercise, or work toward dreams. But motivation is fickle. It comes and goes like the wind. Habits, on the other hand, are reliable. They don't depend on how you feel in the moment. When you build holy habits like daily scripture reading, intentional gratitude, or financial stewardship, you create a foundation that holds you steady even when your emotions waver. You don't have to feel like doing the right thing. Your habits carry you forward regardless. The world celebrates overnight success stories, but behind every sudden breakthrough are years of unseen discipline. David spent his early years faithfully tending sheep before he was ready to lead a nation. Joseph remained faithful in Potiphar's house and prison long before he ruled Egypt. Even Jesus spent 30 years in obscurity before his 3 years of ministry. God is far more interested in your long-term faithfulness than your short-term intensity. Anyone can sprint for a day, but it's the ones who develop the habit of endurance who finish the race. This principle applies to every area of life. Want a stronger marriage? Don't just plan a grand anniversary trip. Cultivate daily habits of kindness, active listening, and forgiveness. Want better health? Don't rely on a 30-day crash diet. Build small, sustainable habits like drinking more water, taking the stairs, or choosing whole foods. Want to grow spiritually? Don't just attend a revival conference. Develop a daily habit of prayer and scripture meditation. The things you do consistently, not occasionally, are what shape your future. Habits also have a compounding effect. They build upon themselves in ways we often don't notice until much later. Reading the Bible for 10 minutes a day might not feel life-changing in the moment, but over a year, that's over 60 hours in God's Word. Saving a small amount each month might seem insignificant, but over a decade, it becomes financial security. The enemy tries to convince us that these small acts don't matter, but that's a lie. Every time you choose the right habit, have you ever caught yourself standing in front of something you didn't need but somehow you still bought it? Maybe it was a dress, a new phone, or a meal that cost more than your daily budget. You didn't buy it because you needed it, you bought it because you were tired, stressed, heartbroken, or maybe just bored. And in that moment, the money left your hand and not because of logic, but because of emotion. That's where it all begins. The truth is, no matter how hard we work or how much we earn, if we cannot control our emotions, we will never have full control over our money. Emotions are silent spenders. They don't shout at you, but they nudge you. They whisper, buy it, you deserve it, or treat yourself, life is short, or prove them wrong. And in that one moment, a few seconds of weakness, money leaves you faster than it came. You try to feel better with things, but those things never fix what's really going on inside. The truth is, emotional decisions often lead to financial mistakes. And the worst part, you don't feel better afterward. You feel regret. You feel empty not just emotionally but financially. Think about Ito. Many people are drowning in debt not because of lack of income but because of lack of control. How many people swipe their cards to heal wounds that only time or faith or rest can heal? How many dreams have been delayed? Not because the dream was impossible, but because emotions were louder than discipline. One wrong purchase during a bad day can undo a whole week of budgeting. One emotional decision can cancel up.
Tulong para alaga ang puso, resistensya, mata, at buong katawan. Centrum Advance.
You understand that the people who truly matter about being wise, it's about choosing what matters more. A temporary feeling or a long-term future, a quick thrill or lasting peace. Those decisions shape your life more than any paycheck ever could. Managing your money well starts with managing your mood. You cannot treat money like a rescue rope for every bad day. You must treat it like a seed, something you plant with purpose, something you water with wisdom, something you protect with care. Because just like seeds grow into trees, your daily decisions grow into your destiny. And if your emotions are running wild, those decisions won't be rooted in truth. They'll be blown by the wind, swayed by every feeling, every pressure, every desire. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. Start noticing the pattern. Start seeing how your mood affects your money. And little by little, begin choosing discipline over impulse. That choice, made again and again, is what builds the foundation not just of wealth but of peace. Sometimes we don't even realize it, but our spending habits are not rooted in needs, they're rooted in emotions we haven't dealt with. Anger leads to revenge spending. Sadness pulls us into comfort buying. Jealousy tricks us into competing silently with people who aren't even watching. And insecurity whispers that maybe, just maybe, if we buy more, we'll finally feel enough. These feelings, though silent and subtle, shape the way we handle money more than we care to admit. It's not the price tags that drain our wallets, it's the pain we haven't healed, the feelings we haven't faced, and the pressure we haven't learned to resist. We live in a culture that teaches us to soothe emotions with transactions. You had a hard day, buy a treat. You feel left out, shop to fit in. You're feeling small, spend big to feel powerful. These emotional triggers create a cycle where money becomes the medicine, but it never cures the wound. It just numbs it for a little while. And once the moment passes, what are we left with? The same pain and now, uh, a little less money in our account. The pattern repeats, and every time we give in, we train our brain to believe that spending is the answer to emotion. But the truth is, money cannot fix what's broken inside. It can only magnify who we are and what we choose to believe about ourselves. Jealousy, especially, is a silent destroyer. We scroll through social media and see people with new cars, new homes, luxurious vacations, and we start to feel like we're behind, like we need to catch up, like we're not enough unless we can show the world we have the same. So we stretch ourselves financially just to look like we're okay, but deep down we're not okay. We're just afraid of being seen as less. And the more we try to prove our worth through things, the more we lose touch with who we really are. What we need isn't more money to spend. It's more clarity about what truly matters. What we need is healing, not shopping. What we need is to feel grounded in our worth even when we have less. Because when you know your value, you stop trying to prove it with your wallet. You stop buying things for approval. You start living for purpose. True confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to be wrapped in designer labels or flashy brands. It shows up in quiet choice choosing to walk away from unnecessary expenses, choosing to wait, choosing to grow, choosing to break the cycle of emotional spending. That's the kind of strength that builds a future. The day you stop letting anger, sadness, jealousy, or insecurity drive your financial decisions is the day you start taking your power back. Because emotions may rise, but they don't have to lead. You can feel without reacting. You can hurt without spending. You can live through it and come out wiser, not poorer. When When we begin to understand how emotions secretly shape our financial habits, we come face to face with a deeper truth. Emotional maturity is the foundation of financial maturity. The two are inseparable. A person who is emotionally stable will often make better money choices, not because they know more about investments or budgeting, but because they know how to stay grounded when life tries to shake them. They know how to stay calm in chaos, patient in pressure, and clear in confusion. And that's what separates those who build wealth from those who keep chasing it. It's easy to think that managing money is all about external tools, budgets, planners, calculators, but all of that can be in place. And still, without inner strength, without emotional maturity, those tools won't help. Because when the storm hits, when you feel left out, discouraged, afraid, or desperate, what will guide your choices is not your spreadsheet, but your self control. That inner character, that quiet discipline that says, I won't let this moment ruin my momentum. That's what emotional maturity looks like. It doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you don't let what you feel dictate how you act, especially with your finances. You can tell a lot about a person by how they respond to delay, to loss, or to pressure. Do they spend to distract themselves? Do they give up and say, bahala na? Or do they slow down, breathe, and think long term? That mindset makes all the difference. People who are emotionally mature understand that feelings are temporary, but the results of their financial decisions can last a lifetime. They don't chase short term comfort if it risks their long term goals. They don't trade peace for a few minutes of pleasure. And emotional maturity is not about agates, about awareness. There are young people who are wise because they've trained themselves to respond instead of react. And there are older people who still struggle because they never learned to pause. But that pause, that moment between what you feel and what you do, that's where maturity is born. And every time you choose not to act on emotion, you're growing, you're becoming stronger, more steady, more in control. Money doesn't just test your intelligence, it tests your heart. It reveals your values. And the way you treat it shows how far you've come in mastering your inner world. Because someone who is emotionally mature doesn't need to show off, doesn't panic easily, and doesn't fall for every shiny thing they see. They are rooted, grounded, focused, and that focus leads to consistency, and consistency leads to growth. You may not always get it right, and that's okay. What matters is that you're learning to observe yourself, you're learning to slow down, you're learning to choose progress over perfection. That emotional maturity you're building, it's not just for your wallet, it's for your future, your relationships, your dreams. If you take it growing, it is a step toward living a more purposeful, empowered life. When you begin to grow emotionally, something powerful happens. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop letting every little trigger shake your foundation. In the moment you learn to pause, to think, to reflect before making a money decision, is the moment you start gaining real financial power. Because emotional vulnerability doesn't just affect your relationships, it affects your bank account. When your emotions are unstable, your decisions become unstable. And where there is instability, money cannot stay. It needs direction, it needs protection. And both of those things require a calm and steady hand. Every time you let your feelings take control over your time, you allow pressure, fear, or pride to dictate your spending risk. Not just money, but momentum. You can lose time, you can lose energy. You can lose opportunities that were meant for you, and sometimes it only takes one emotional reaction to undo months of progress. That's how fragile our financial journey can be when our emotions are not in check. But when you begin to take ownership of how you feel, when you learn to sit with discomfort without trying to buy your way out of it, you discover that control is possible. That peace is not a product of purchases, but a product of discipline. There will always be moments that test your emotional strength. A failed deal, a missed promotion, a sudden expense, a comment that makes you feel less. But the question is, what will you do in those moments? Will you spend to feel better? Will you try to prove your worth by what you own? Or will you remind yourself of your values, your goals, and your purpose? Emotional strength is choosing not to escape into spending when life gets tough. It's choosing to stand firm even when everything around you feels uncertain. Being emotionally vulnerable doesn't make you weak, but acting out of that vulnerability without wisdom is what causes damage. That's why we must grow. That's why we must heal. Because the stronger you become inside, the more you can handle the storms outside. And the more steady you are emotionally, the more steady your financial path will be. This is not about being emotionless. This is about being emotionally aware. Being honest with what you're feeling, but choosing to act from wisdom, not from impulse. Because money doesn't just flow to those who hustle, it flows to those who can hold it. Those who can carry it with maturity. Those who can handle pressure without breaking. Those who can stay committed even when things get tough. So the next time you're faced with a decision during an emotional moment, remember, you are not your feeling. You are not your fear. You are not your frustration. You are the one who decides what happens next. And in that decision lies the power to either protect your finances or let them slip away. When you begin to gain emotional stability, something even more powerful starts to take shape. You start making better choices with your money. Not perfect choices, but wise ones. Decisions that are rooted in clarity, not chaos. And that's the moment your finances begin to shift. Because control over your emotions leads to control over your direction. It doesn't mean you'll always know exactly what to do, but it means you'll no longer be driven by panic, comparison, or pressure. You'll no longer be a slave to your impulses. You will lead your money, not the other way around. So many people think financial success comes from luck or from earning a huge income. But that's only part of the story. Real financial growth happens in the little quiet moments. The moment you say no to a purchase you don't need, the moment you stop scrolling because you feel envy rising in your chest, the moment you choose to wait, to think, to breathe. These small decisions, repeated over time, become the building blocks of a stable financial future. And they are all made possible when you're not ruled by your emotions. When you can control your emotions, you create space to think long term. You start asking better questions. Do I really need this? Is this aligned with my goals? Am I buying this to impress or to progress? These questions bring clarity, and clarity brings power because no one accidentally becomes financially free. It's always a result of intentional choices, and intentional choices can only come from a focused mind and a peaceful heart. When emotions are out of control, money becomes a weapon. We use it to get even, to feel better, to feel the silence. But when emotions are under control, money becomes a tool, a seed, a servant. It works for you instead of against you. It multiplies because you know how to manage it. You're not just chasing financial success, you're building financial stability. And that difference is everything. You become more generous because your giving isn't emotional, it's purposeful. You become more consistent because your habits aren't based on how you feel today. They're built on the vision you have for tomorrow. That's That's what control looks like. Not restriction, but intention. Not guilt, but growth. You're not avoiding spending, you're learning to spend with purpose. You're learning that every peso, every dollar is a choice. And when your emotions are calm, that choice becomes clearer. This isn't about being robotic. It's about being resilient. It's about not allowing temporary emotions to sabotage permanent goals. Because once you understand that emotions are part of life but they don't have to rule your life, you start taking the driver's seat, you stop reacting and start responding, you stop drifting and start directing. And in that place of emotional stability, money finally finds a safe place to grow. Emotional discipline is not something that shows up all at once. It is built slowly, one moment at a time, in silence, in struggle, and in self-reflection. Every time you catch yourself about to spend out of impulse but pause instead, you're laying a new brick in the foundation of financial strength. Every time you resist the temptation to prove something through what you buy, you're declaring to the world that your identity is no longer for sale. And that strength doesn't just affect your wallet, it changes your mindset. It turns you from a consumer into a creator, from someone who reacts to life into someone who shapes it. You begin to realize that not every sale is a blessing. Not every offer is a reward.
Yan guys, we're done. And thank you so much to those who dropped by. Thank you, and see you again next time. Bye guys. God bless you all. Thank you so much again. Wait, I'll just show you our final product. Thank you. Hello, host. I'm sorry if I didn't noticed your comments because I'm in a hurry, guys. Thank you for the likes and thank you for dropping by, guys. Thank you for still supporting my live even though I'm not into YouTube that often. Thank you, and see you again next time, guys. Bye. Thank you, and God bless you all. May you all have a great day ahead. Thank you.